Malayalam industry is making the most realistic films in the entire country. They're able to do it in much lesser budgets, much lesser time periods of making the film. If Marco is criticized for extreme violence, but the huge success shows that the people didn't mind. Technology can sometimes affect stardom a lot. I've never seen any actor who looks so good when he's walking in slow motion more than Rajinikanth, you know. Superstar is a completely different phenomena altogether that should not be confused with acting. Mohanlal has, in the context of an extraordinary actor, the awards he got and everything. I had this feeling that he would ask me many complicated questions about the script, about his role. The first time I met him for a company. So I was kind of prepared for that. Mohanlal is in the civilian chair, is turned to the side and he keeps playing with the paperweight. And Vivek Oberoi is somewhere in the back. So by placing the actors in that kind of a mode where there's a hierarchy, the main guy is Ajay. The Mohanlal almost, he looks like he's more interested in the paperweight than what he's talking, you know. Why I joined, but I was never interested and I was a very bad student. I probably failed 2 semesters. Woman in a sari, it doesn't need that she's wearing provocative clothes. You know, Pushpa 2 should be learnt, not the so-called great classics. Whatever seems to be working in the theatre is what they should day in and day out analyze every Friday. That makes far more sense to me than getting stuck on some old classics. So put Amitabh Bachchan in a sarkar, I don't need to have screen time to build him up to make it convincing, because a very close-up itself will tell the story. So Satya and Rangila, 2 of my benchmark films of my career, and both of them happened because of Antam. So now I don't know if it's a worse film or not.
നിങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിൽ കാണുന്ന ഇവന്റ് അത് ഏതുമായിക്കോട്ടെ അതിനെ കൂടുതൽ കളർഫുൾ ആക്കാൻ കൂടുതൽ സ്പെഷ്യൽ കണ്ടന്റോടുകൂടി മൈൽസ്റ്റോൺ ഇവന്റ്സ് ബർത്ത്ഡേ പാർട്ടി എൻഗേജ്മെന്റ് കല്യാണം കോർപ്പറേറ്റ് ഇവന്റ്സ് അങ്ങനെ ഏത് ഇവന്റ്സും കൂടുതൽ സ്പെഷ്യൽ കണ്ടന്റോടുകൂടി നമുക്ക് മനോഹരമാക്കാം മൈൽസ്റ്റോൺ ഇവന്റ്സിലൂടെ.
Witty, unconventional, bloody real. This man himself is a film school. In today's Something Special, we have the one and only Gopal Varma. Of course, with his new film, Sari. Sir, welcome to the show. So, let's start with Sari. Why this much a real title? Like, it's bloody direct when compared to all other films of you. Why this much a direct title?
See, there are 2 reasons for that. One is, you see, the film deals with a certain obsession of a guy towards a girl, and the first time he sees her, she's in a sari.
Okay.
You know? So initially he doesn't know her name and he keeps on referring her as a sari girl, the girl in the sari.
Okay.
So I felt we always have this, you know, when a kind of an atrocity or something happens on a woman, generally lots of times politicians and various people tend to blame her for the clothes she's wearing. She's asking for it and those nonsensical comments, you know. So, and a sari is the most traditional and conventional. So it can happen even for a woman in a sari. It doesn't need that she's wearing provocative clothes, you know. So I thought the emphasis on the word sari will make it even more stronger, which is the reason
When speaking about the tagline, it clearly says, for him, no means yes. That's a bit controversial and like skeptic.
See, I took it from this famous film of Amitabh Bachchan, No Means No. See, it's like when a woman doesn't consent, that she doesn't have some feelings for the other person, he should move away, respecting her comfort and her state of mind. But obsession basically by nature is that it goes beyond a certain point. He himself might lose control over his mind, you know, and he becomes obsessively possessive, which is the reason. And then at a point of time he starts becoming delusional to feel that maybe she doesn't mean it when he says no. Some other force could be influencing her. It could be her people, or it could be her own nature why she can't say yes. So I think it's almost like a takeoff from the pink line.
Okay. So in this era of political correctness, will that create a controversy?
See, I think we are living in times there is so much of intolerance and everyone has a problem with everything. So I think it's impossible for us to be politically correct anymore. Yeah.
Okay. You have been here for almost 4 decades. So how does film evolves you as a filmmaker, as a person?
See, if film is eventually, if you look at it as storytelling, you know, I think emotions remain the same. People's internal conflicts remain the same. It's only the technology which changes, you know. And very probably see if the film is a medium. It is like, you know, if I want to say something as a filmmaker, I can I can write a book, or I can probably have a conversation, or I can make a film. Eventually, it's a medium, you know.
Yeah, true.
So I think if you're trying to amalgamating the various crafts, for example, a filmmaker is not a primary artist in the sense of the word. See, someone is doing music, someone is performing, someone is photographing, and someone else is writing lyrics and dialogue. And all these things are amalgamating into coherent whole, so that it creates an emotional impact, and that is being channelized through a director's mind. So I don't think technically nothing changes no matter how many years happen. So that is also the reason my Godfather, which is 50 years old, still appears new. Only for the reason because the characters look the same. I mean, whether they existed in 1970 or 2030, it doesn't make a difference. So I think, I would like to say, but then it's a question of expression. I mean, each director might have his own vision of how he wants to tell a story, you know. So that is about individual's interpretation of the concept. So the time as such, I don't think it makes any difference. Yeah.
Okay. So your films are usually realistic. As far as I'm concerned, as a film student, I found they are as bloody real. That is the tagline I can give. So, but you are commercially really successful. That is like, they are like two different things, to like contradictory actually.
See, I mean, if a film is about telling a story, and primary purpose of a story is to engage the person who's listening, you know, and to have a grip in the narrative, and somewhere for it to emotionally move the person who's watching the film or hearing the story. So I think it's a selection of the things. A lot of things are very dramatic which happen in real life. So you're picking up this subject which has the drama inherently, and then trying to make it realistic is what I try to achieve. Yeah.
That's a clear cut
So
answer.
if the what you want to say, if that doesn't inherently have a drama, then obviously by making it real, it might come across boring to most of the audience.
Yeah, but usually realism and commercial success are considered as contradictory. They are poles apart.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel it's not necessary that just because you're calling it cinema, it doesn't need to be in one style.
Yeah.
You know, and so many times you see films which are so diversely different in terms of their making, becoming extremely successful, though they seem to be opposite in their nature, you know, and they have multiple examples of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the bottom line, any filmmaker, including me, only choice we have is to try and make the film with the same excitement and passion what you felt, and hopefully there'll be enough people out there to connect to that. It's not possible that you please everyone. That is not going to happen. And also the one mistake we do is we generalize the audience. Now, the audience are not a bunch of sheep. No. They all are different people. They all have different tastes and sensibilities and exposure. So I think it is not possible. So the director making a film for himself could be the nearest point of being honest, I think. You know.
Yeah.
So that might sound a little this thing, because you should make it for the audience, but that's a very convenient labeling. The word audience doesn't have any meaning actually. Yeah.
I have a particular kind of curiosity. There was a Ram Gopal Varma era. Actually, still it is there. But you never casted any Khans.
Yeah.
So, right.
See, the reason is to start with, I just make like you yourself said, like extremely realistic and hard-hitting films, you know.
Yeah.
I think the stars basically cater to a very different kind of mindset. They have huge fan bases, and they have to be designed for a certain purpose. But they are not. I'm not demeaning them. See, that is a kind of a cinema. See, if you go to a like a very good restaurant and it is serves very good thali food, and no matter how many times you eat it, you still enjoy it. I think mainstream commercial cinema is that, and there's nothing wrong with it, and which could be the most popular thing. So, as a filmmaker, if I decide on the genre and how to make it, and what interests me and excites me is what I stick to, and I make it in that kind of a cost which would, make the dividends worth it. Yeah.
As a Malayali, Company is of course one of my favorite movies. As a Malayali, I want to know particularly about your experience with the acting, your experience with the actor, star Mohanlal.
Yeah. See, I would like to say but probably that will be very unique because I worked with very versatile actors.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bachchan,
yeah,
Abhishek
Bachchan, I'm
Bachchan.
told, of course, Ajay, and
Yeah,
see, most of the time, the kind of a reputation Mohanlal has in the context of an extreme, extraordinary actor, the awards he got and everything.
yeah.
I had this feeling that he would ask me many complicated questions about the script, about his role. The first time I met him for a company, so I was kind of prepared for that. You know? And after I finished the narration, the first and only question he asked me is, "Sir, how many days you want?" So that was like an anticlimax for me, you know. And I'm sure he does it with everyone, not about me, because I think he's an actor who understands the craft, who understands how films are made, and I think he does it on trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even when he was performing, I had issues in the beginning. I thought he was not doing in the right way what I thought, and I was going on asking him for takes, and after 6 7 takes, and when I was checking them, I thought the first take was the best what he gave. You know,
Okay.
that's because see, directors have this habit. They try to discuss and they start visualizing how the actors should do it by them saying the lines, and you actually are trying to see if he's copying exactly, though you might not have briefed him also.
Yeah.
So expecting him to do the where he takes a pause, where he makes a certain gesture and things like that. So it will take some time for me to come out of my mental block of what I thought it should be, and then to freshly see it from a normal perspective, you know. So I think it's very instinctive actor. And then the fact it doesn't make any discussion about the character itself proves that he's instinctive, and which might sound lesser than a person who prepares, but I think it's a much greater art.
Yeah. And yeah, Company is one of the rarest films which uses Mohanlal's hands as a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When saying that,
Yeah.
how do you see an actor's body as a tool? Because you have been
See, for
criticized.
example, in the scene of Mohanlal's first scene in Company, I mean, there are two things to it. One is the placement of the actors' positions. I take a great interest in it. See, if Ajay Devgan is sitting in the front, facing Mohanlal, Mohanlal is in the civilian chair, is turned to the side, and he keeps playing with the paperweight. And Vivek Oberoi is somewhere in the back,
Okay.
and to the profile. So by placing the actors in that kind of a mode where there's a hierarchy, the main guy is Ajay, Vivek is prodigy, and he's some kind of a secretary. You know, so that creates a dynamics which creates a very unspoken tension. And Mohanlal almost, he looks like he's more interested in the paperweight than what he's talking, you know. That is what is characteristic, you know. So imagine if the same scene, if those three people are actually sitting right in front of Mohanlal, I don't think the scene will be the same, though the content might remain the same. Yeah.
Okay.
So I take a lot of effort and like a lot of interest in those kind of positioning the actors in a given scene. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You have been criticized for objectifying a woman's body and all. It's not my personal opinion,
yeah.
but what's your take after 4 decades of filmmaking on that?
I think women's body is also an object. I don't know what it means with objectifying. See, if there is beauty in a woman's body, and in the context of the film, if I show it through a certain situation or through a certain character, for example, if Rangila is a love story, and through Jackie's eyes, Jackie Shroff's character eyes, I am seeing her in a context, you know. So to capture a man's power and a woman's beauty, probably they are two of my most favorite motivations. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Which genre you want to explore more in the coming years?
I mean, I don't fix. For example, I've made films where there are no women only.
Yeah.
For example, at Access 2611, there's not a single
Yeah.
woman in the film,
know.
and many such things I made.
Yeah.
You know, and when in Satya, there's absolutely no glamour quotient.
No,
It's as real as that. Yeah, correct.
So we have seen different Urmila in that.
Yeah, correct. So I think it directly depends on the genre and that particular subject matter and of how I shoot it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have been very close to Malayalam movies, I guess. You have been mentioning about Fahad Fasil, Marco and all. So you want to explore more in Malayalam movies? You
See, I
want to
think
direct more?
Malayalam industry is making the most realistic films in the entire country. No language is very anywhere near to it, and it's fascinating. And and they're able to do it in much lesser budgets, much lesser time periods of making the film, and I think it's a lesson to everyone. So, I mean, I don't see many because I have a problem in films which I don't understand the language,
Yeah.
and also don't dislike to see subtitles because I think film
it's
is a visual.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can we see a Malayalam movie directed by Ram
No,
Gopal?
I don't think so. Only because for the same reason, because I don't know Malayalam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a wide bunch of audience. They are from Neo Film School.
Yeah.
You can ask questions to him.
Hi sir, myself Arvin. I'm a student director at Neo Film School.
You can sit down.
No issues.
Okay.
Sir, so initially you started as a civil engineer. What drove you to cinema?
See, I think the engineering was not really because those days no one knows really what was supposed to do. My father or grandfather told me to join engineering because my grandfather told me you can get a lot of bribes from contractors, which is the motivation he gave me. Why I joined, but I was never interested and I was a very bad student. I probably failed 2 semesters. And but all the time I was in the theaters when I was not attending college, So I like to quote Quentin Tarantino said, I didn't go to film school. I went to cinema. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was an interest which I had right from my childhood. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Samuel Watson. Anwar Kashyap recently said that student filmmakers are told to make movies that sell. And like, as a student filmmaker, how can we continue our passion or like our vision at the same time be in this industry that runs on money?
See, to start with, my strong belief is film students. I mean, I don't know if a word student exists anymore because, and film institutes itself, I think, are an outdated concept. Because there was a time when you didn't have access to the film tools. You didn't have an access to watching films and maybe the film, like something like a Pune Film Institute had a lot of archive of great films and X and Y. Today, anybody, anywhere with a cell phone also can make a film just to practice, to do something. And films are becoming very expressionistic. See, when you call filmmaking a professional course, I don't think Film Institute would follow that path. See, they tend to stick into old great classics like Citizen Kane and Battleship Potemkin. I feel it's a completely irrelevant thing to learn if you're a professional, as I'm saying. If you're an art and a passion, you can do that. That's your call. But if you want to make a living out of a filmmaker, that's the wrong thing. I mean, I think Pushpa 2 should be learnt, not the so-called great classics. Whatever seems to be working in the theatre is what they should day in and day out analyze every Friday. That makes far more sense to me than getting stuck on some old classics. Yeah.
Sir, hi sir. I'm Amit, I'm student director. So you have acted with, you have worked with many stars and newcomers also. So what matters you the most, the acting skill or any certain screen presence?
I think, see, acting skill and screen presence go together. I mean, without one of the two, I don't think anyone can work on screen, you know. And then with regard to established actors like stars, I think that's again going by the role. For example, a movie like Satya, if I have established actors, I don't think it will be the same film, you know. The believability factor, I don't think will work. At the same time, without Amitabh Bachchan, I don't think I can make Sarkar. So it depends on the genre, it depends on what kind of characters. If I put Amitabh Bachchan as Sarkar, I don't need to have screen time to build him up to make it convincing, because a very close-up itself will tell the story. So I take decisions based on that. Yeah, for example, in Sari, I wanted both of them to be new, mainly because the relatability of this can happen to anybody, anywhere. I think it will be more stronger compared to an established actor. Yeah.
So I just have to ask you, when you make a story, do you have any blocks? Or how do you overcome that?
Do I have blocks?
When you make
Just
a
like
story.
writer's block, reader's
Writer's
block,
block,
block
something
for
like that.
particular period.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen. See, when you're kind of working and it might feel that something about it is not working and I'm not able to crack what should happen. Then I think that's a process of any creation, I would say. You know, not necessarily storytelling. And yeah,
How do you overcome it? That's his curiosity.
I overcome till I get the next idea. Yeah.
So, what can audience expect from you in the coming years? Are there any specific genres or projects that you're looking forward to or eager to film?
Yeah, I identified some things which probably might see a very new kind of a genre. I was attempting to make things which have not touched, because I put my fingers in every genre over the last so many decades. Now I'm planning to do something which at least someone would expect from me. Yeah.
I am Altaf Rahman. I am also a filmmaker as a student. I just want to ask you, you have been a director, a screenwriter, and a producer, and you also an actor.
I'm an actor. Where?
I just seen you in Kalki.
That is not really coming
I
under acting.
just
Okay,
consider
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
How was your experience in Kalki? Can you share about that?
See, I had, I think, 15 seconds role.
I
So in that, I don't know what experience I can. It was just like Prabhas called me and asked me just to do a cameo, and I did it. I didn't even think about what I was doing. Yeah. And it's of no significance, the role in any which way. It is just like I think by the time they realized I was there, it got over.
in exploring any things?
You want to explore more acting?
Acting?
I am not sure. I mean, because for me, like a lot of actors I work with, they say I'm a very good actor. But I think acting is more about reacting. When to explain to an actor by performing is very different compared to actually doing a scene. And second is I have very strong views about how to do it. So I don't know, and I'm also a control freak. So I don't know if I listen to a director about what I should be doing, Unless a director like that comes who can convince me that he understands the vision better than me. Yeah.
Your actors might be praying for that. Let him experience the same thing.
Can we see in your upcoming movies like any Malayalam actors with working?
Yeah,
with you?
surely. Yeah.
So recently a statement went viral regarding Rajinikanth sir. So it was like without slow motion Rajinikanth is not
See,
more than
that thing, I was actually talking about how technology can sometimes affect stardom a lot. See, obviously being a superstar for so many decades, and I've never seen any actor who looks so good when he's walking in slow motion more than Rajinikanth, So I said, if actor is fine, but a superstar is a completely different phenomena altogether. That should not be confused with acting. I said, if the slow motion camera was not invented, I'm not very sure Rajinikanth would have been such a big star. That is what I meant. Okay. And similarly, I said Charlie Chaplin, if he came in after the 24 frames camera came out, he was existing at the 18 frames, 18 frames per second, where that kind of a movement which comes in, frame skipping, which is the reason he appeals so much. But imagine Charlie Chaplin in 24 frames. I'm not sure it will work. So that I was giving examples of this. Yeah.
Since your statement, I was imagining the same and I was constantly laughing. Charlie Chaplin in this.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, you are one of those flag bearers of freedom of expression in cinema, in specific. So, do you think there's a thin line between freedom of expression and also society, what we show to society through our films?
I mean, see, eventually we are living under the laws of the land, and there is a certain governing body called the censor board, and then the flaws in the censor board is a completely different chapter altogether. But what I strongly feel about something, and I would use the medium and all the crafts involved to do that. I mean, to give an example, if Marco is criticized for extreme violence, but the huge success shows that the people didn't mind. So like Animal is another example. It pushed the limits of many things, And so I think, but the censor board as an entity itself, I think, is outdated, because at the time it was formed in 1952, it was there was no not even Doordarshan probably, And to apply the same rules now when everything is available for everyone, and I think it's that's the reason I'm calling it outdated. And social responsibility is a very easy word to use, but for who is society? I mean, there are people who watch Marco, there are people who watch some other romantic film, there are people who watch something, and all of them are a part of the same society. So you can't label it as one entity. Yeah.
My name is Vinija. I'm a cinematography student at Neo Film School. So most of the filmmakers stick to one genre and they have one storytelling style. But you're someone who has switched genres, and that is incredibly hard, I can imagine. So what is your process like? Like you need to know the film grammar of each individual genre. So is there something? Where do you find inspiration, like when you switch from one to another?
And I don't really think so. See, eventually every human being has all kinds of emotions in him. So there is fear, there is laughter, there is sadness, and there is anger, and there is a thrill, or whatever you call it. So all of them, when you isolate each of them, it becomes a genre. If your fear is inherent. So if I make a horror film or something I want to dominate, or something with power dynamics, that becomes in a way an action film, or something else, a comedy. So all those emotions are inherent in each and every one of us. But maybe because I get bored very easily, I want to switch genres. But most of the directors, they want to stay in the comfort zone, and probably they're either all the time happy or all the time tragic or all the time. I really don't know. But it comes very naturally to me to switch genres. Yeah. And of course, then how you apply the technique, it depends upon, again, the specific story. And for example, in Satya, it always has a very eye level, very little kind of camera gimmicks in the film, because I wanted the actors to do the job, and I just was capturing them. And there was no show off with the camera work. Whereas in Sarkar, I wanted tight close-ups of everything, because emotion is so intense. Likewise, Booth, something else. So I go by my instinct of what I feel like seeing at that time. And when people talk about my compositions, I think it's my way of looking. I don't think cinematography should be about what you are showing, how you are showing it. How is a expression? It is like an individual's expression. That is what, no matter how many cameramen change, my frames look very, very easy. I mean, easily identifiable. That's because of my individual idea of how it should look.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Hi.
I just wanted to know, as a director, what is your process of making an actor comfortable, especially when you're making movies? When you know that the person is uncomfortable, what is your process of making them comfortable? Because to an extent, definitely there will be one sense of uncomfortability. As an aspiring actor, I don't know.
Okay.
What is your process of making a person comfortable?
See, uncomfortable, I don't know is the right word. If you're saying to get the best out of to be in front of the camera and performing with others, I would assume many times, especially for new people, it can be very disorienting in terms of maybe they don't feel natural, and you can see the awkwardness in their performance, you know. So there are two things I do. So, for example, in Sarkar, there's a scene when Rashid comes to meet the guy in the black to meet Amitabh Bachchan. Now he's a new actor. He's a theatre. He's done some theatre or something. So what I did with him, I gave him more importance than Amitabh Bachchan on the set. I made him feel like a star, you know. So I was sitting on the, I was squatting on the floor and trying to explain to him, I said, take as much time as you want. Don't hurry up. I will control the speed in the editing. You know, so me behaving like that in front of Amitabh Bachchan, it gave him that confidence. You know, I think actor is the most important thing in a film. Every craft, it doesn't make a difference. It goes here and there. The actor is the most important. So to respect the actor, because eventually the emotion is coming through the actor, not through camera work, not through music, not through anything, you know. So I take tremendous care of the actors. Having said that, I will also know when, by the time I take the decision of casting, I know the capacity. I need to create the atmosphere for the capacity to come out. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to male actors, you have been experimenting with newcomers, with experienced actors and all. But when it comes to female actors, you stick to that conventional pattern of looking good, aesthetically perfect, within quotes, aesthetically perfect figures, faces and all. Why?
See, I don't think I followed that like a rule or something like that. Yes, I mean, I would definitely say I'm most interested in powerful men and beautiful women.
Yeah.
So that's a pension which I already mentioned, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, an actor cannot make an impression by sheer looks. See, if you are the FTV models, they're so beautiful, all of them, without exception, but you don't remember them after some time, you know. Whereas when a woman is playing a character, see, it's eventually emotion which is memorable, not really that. See, emotion kind of amplifies the looks, but without the emotion, beauty will never work.
Which is your most favorite Ram Gopal Varma movie?
So there will be some scenes even in my flop films which I think are very good, or some scenes which I think are very bad even in my so-called hit films. Yeah.
Okay. So which is the worst Ram Gopal Varma movie?
The worst, I think, is this film called Antam, you know, which is released in Hindi as Drohi with Nagarjuna and Urmila.
Okay.
Why I think it is worse is because the source material which I had at that time, which I took from a James Hadley Chase novel. I feel I completely screwed it up somehow in the making, and I realized it post the release, you know. But strangely, that was one of the most important films of my life, you know, though it is my worst film. And I'll tell you why. Because I made that film, I met Urmila. And because I met Urmila, I made Rangila. You know, that is one. Second part is because this thing didn't work, Drohi, and I realized why it didn't work, I remade it as Satya. Again, you know, I just changed the background here and there and I made Satya. So Satya and Rangila are two of my benchmark films of my career, and both of them happened because of Antam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I don't know if it's a worse film or not.
What is your sari promise to Malayalis?
Sari promise, I can't promise. I can only make, something and...
We are the flag bearer
like
of
I
saris.
said, yeah. I mean, sari is something which I would have never thought I'll make a film called Sari, and then the protagonist most of the time in a sari. But I think that's the kind of an impact that reel of Aradhya created. Yeah.
All our prayers and wishes for Sari and all your upcoming projects.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Waiting eagerly for more Ram Gopal Varma magic on screens. Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
time.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh.